Hi Tom.
Hey.
You're running for the Director of Events and Services, correct?
Yep.
Right. I'm Aidan. I'm Deputy News Editor Saint. I'm just going to give you a couple of quick questions.
Okay.
Mostly derived from your manifesto. So the first question I have for you is that in your manifesto, you list a lot of policies. However, you choose not to talk about the logistics, funding, or justification for any of them. Instead, you ask people to get in touch with you. Why is that necessary?
Are there any specific ones you had a query about? Because I feel like I've tried to explain quite a lot of them.
It's the fact that it's a 14-page manifesto, if I'm correct, yet you chose not to explain how you would implement any of the policies.
Which policy? Because I tried to explain quite a few of them, I think. Just give me an example.
Well, we could go with...
It's that long because there's explanations for quite a bit of them.
Well, for example, you decide to... your second policy on your list is to showcase more student art around the Union building.
Yep.
You suggest with potentially a competition with cash prize.
Yeah.
It would probably be best if people, would like an explanation how you would go about
Yeah.
it.
So
it's all nice having ideas.
Yeah, of course.
But we need to know they're realistic.
So I've actually already done something like this with Star. I basically want to do the same kind of exact thing. The cash prize doesn't have to be excessive. So for Star, we had £50 set aside. And I think the amount of publicity we got from the competition, because we had about 20-something entries, and all of those people were sharing their designs to try and win this prize. The amount of publicity and good art we got from that we can then use for future event designs really paid itself off with the £50 prize.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
That leads on nicely to my second question, which is that in your manifesto you do talk about Star a lot.
Yeah.
And you justify that as a life part of your experience for the role. Why do you think that makes you a suitable candidate, and do you think that it provides a good stepping stone, and how?
Yeah, so obviously my last year of uni here has been very much focused on Star. I think the way Star runs, the events it puts on, there's a lot of similarities with the events you'd have to put on as Director of Events and Services. So things like booking bands, doing logistics for events with live music, talking to ENTS crew, for example. So ENTS is something that will be very heavily working with as part of this role. So there's a lot of things like that really cross over from Star.
I'd like to pick up on another specific policy from the manifesto. This one was policy 39. I picked on this because there's a direct comparison with Mika, who's also running for the position, as I'm sure you know.
Yep.
Policy 39, you state that if you're caught trying to resell a ticket for a stupid price, I'll cancel the ticket. Now, Mika also proposes a system for extortionate ticket resale.
Yeah.
How would you go about doing?
Yeah, so obviously I've tried to make this quite a fun manifesto because it is like half the length of a thesis, so I want people to read through it. So I've got things that are worded quite informally like that. That is a policy where I think a lot of people are aware of the problem, but ways to actually tackle that problem, it is difficult because you could say like things like So Far Sounds, they say you have to provide a name for your guests when you sign up for the tickets, if you're buying multiple tickets. But there's problems with things like that would make them hard to implement. A scheme where people would have to sell their tickets back to the union is something I would want to do, but there's a lot more to think through for doing that kind of idea before implementing it.
Okay.
So there is a lot more to it than that informal sentence.
You also suggest that you want to use the space behind the union. Now, have you considered how that might impact on local residents and how you would go about overcoming that?
Yep, so there's the big field behind the union, which is currently only used for Freshers' Fair, and there's also the benches outside Sandy's. The benches outside Sandy's, I think also the field actually, there's an agreement the union has with the neighbours on Hope Street, where they're allowed to use the space for pretty much anything before 8 p.m. So even with the current restrictions from the local residents, there's so much potential to do daytime events, or even just let people sit in those spaces outside Sandy's, for example, to enjoy main bar food and drinks until 8 p.m, weather dependent, of course.
Weather dependent.
Yeah.
And finally, you also mentioned in your manifesto that you'd like a referendum. Now, we all know how divisive referendums can be. Firstly, why do you think this is a good idea? And if you're proposing an idea like a referendum, leads into my final question, which is, why should voters trust you in a role which is quite important to a lot of people in the university?
Yeah, so first question about the referendum. Again, you picked up on one of the more informal points, which I was expecting, which is very fair. They use referendum because it is quite a word that will engage people to think, what's that about? How will that work? The main point of that is so many people have, since publishing this manifesto, have messaged me saying, please fix the Bob. And I've replied to all of them saying, what exactly would you fix? And most of their ideas are having more standard kind of genres on Friday nights. On the other hand, there are a lot of people who may not be in my immediate social circle who do enjoy the current theme of Friday nights being maybe a bit more cheesy, a bit more chart-based. So I feel like there's definitely a mandate in that there's enough people concerned that Friday nights aren't aimed at their kind of ideal night out. There's enough of those people to make this justified in kind of getting more feedback to see what the overall opinions are. And there's certainly things we could do, like having the cheesy bops on Saturdays, maybe the same frequency as Sinners, for example. But I'm not saying that will happen. It's just an option.
And ultimately, finally then, why should voters trust you in the role?
I would point to my experience in the last year with Star. So if you look at my campaign page for the last year, I've spent a couple hours every week writing detailed posts of what I've been doing in the past week for Star. My manifesto for Star was actually even more points. I think it was 202. And I've got 72% of them done. So yeah, hopefully that's enough for people to trust me.
Well, thank you very much, Tom.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming in.